In this video, we'll learn how to analyze a performance band report. Tied into the analysis is also the building of a remediation strategy for the content in the test. If we simply analyze the test but do not adjust instruction or remediate based on its results, then the analysis of the test does not impact student achievement and it's not worth our time. To begin, you'll need a performance band report that you've already run and the test that this report is about. Here's my test. The reason we need the test is because it provides some context for the data that we're about to look at. Think of it this way. Let's say LeBron James is playing a game and he scores 100 points in that game. On its own, this seems extremely impressive. Now what happens to that data when we know that he played the game against a group of 12-year-olds? Do those 100 points have the same meaning as if you were playing against another team in the NBA? The test is the context against which you analyze the scores. So like I said, be sure to have the test with you. And if you don't have a hard copy with you or a digital copy on your screen, pause the video and get one before you start again. As I said in the running performance band report, performance band reports are really the entry-level report and give a good graphical overview of the results of a test without being too cluttered. For this report, however, you cannot drill down to student-level data, so you can only look at the broad strokes and trends across the class, and that's exactly what we're going to do. In my report, I find that the tests I'm analyzing contain 5 separate indicators. I also find that on 2 of these indicators, a majority of those students scored basic. Notice that the highlighted section shows the performance band with the plurality of students. Just in this case, it also happens to be the majority. So be on the lookout for that, as if less than 50% of the students scored basic, whole group remediation may not be the best strategy. Since these 2 indicators had so many students scoring basic, I'm going to focus my analysis of the test on these 2 indicators, since I'll be building a remediation plan around that. If you haven't already, I suggest you watch the videos on building a remediation plan, as we'll be using the strategies in those for the rest of this video. At the bottom of this performance report is a list of indicators tested in the given assessment along with the VSC statement for that indicator. It also lists what questions were tested for that indicator on the assessment you're analyzing, right down here, making this a quick, helpful reference for the rest of the analysis. The first standard I've chosen to reteach is Algebra Data Analysis Indicator 1.1.1. The student will recognize, describe, and/or extend patterns and functional relationships that are expressed numerically, algebraically, and/or geometrically. Remember, I'm choosing to reteach this because less than 50%, right here, less than 50% of the students mastered the indicator. To get an idea of what this indicator looks like in the test, I'm going to pull up the test and look at a few of the questions that fall under this indicator, which in this case includes questions 2, 9, and 14. It would be better to use all of the questions to form your idea of the tested indicator, but for the sake of keeping this video short, I'm just going to look at a few for now. Question number 2 asks us to find the common difference of a sequence. For those of you that don't teach math, it's the number I add to a term to get to the next number in the sequence. So 9, 13, 17, 21, 9 plus 4 is 13, so on and so forth. So I should include that on my reteaching plan. Question number 9, when I scroll down to that, is also a patterns problem, asking students to find the rule. In other words, find the process from getting from one term to the next, very similar to number 2, and then find the next 2 terms in the sequence. Finally, question number 14 asks students to find the next 2 terms in the sequence. Only this time the sequence is geometric instead of arithmetic. And you might recognize the y terms as the x term squared. 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, 4 squared would be 16, 5 squared would be 25. So we need to be sure to include geometric sequences in our reteaching plan as well. This gives us 3 concepts we should cover in our reteaching plan for this indicator. The definition and process for finding the common difference, finding the next terms of an arithmetic sequence, and finding the next terms of a geometric sequence. For me, that will take about a day and a half of instruction, with each topic taking up about half a day, and you would know best the length of time it would take to reteach each standard. Note that I chose to reteach all of these standards since they are all essential understandings for Algebra 1. Each topic is foundational to understanding further topics in the course. in this case for understanding linear and quadratic functions and slope of lines. If the topic is less important for the understanding of the key concepts of the course, you may choose to reteach in mini lessons instead of full lessons I have, or just not reteach at all. Use your best judgment, and if you're still not sure, feel free to ask a colleague at your school or post in the discussion board. To finish the last indicator, the other one that I chose to remediate, which in this case would have been ADA Indicator 1.2.1, I would just repeat the process, looking at the test again to see what types of questions are asked for the indicator, and plan a review or reteaching strategy accordingly. Again, if you have any questions, comments, or ideas on analyzing and remediation strategies, go ahead and post them in the discussion board, and we'll tackle those issues together. Thanks for listening.